So my name is Rob Kandell. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. I am a business coach, life coach, podcaster, and writer, which means I'm a little schizophrenic. I have, a very large range of my brain of where it goes from. And when I tell you about my story, it'll make more sense of how I went from someone who I considered normal to me now. Okay. I'm going to speak about the flow of my talk. So, I'm going to talk about the thesis for my talk, just the concept. I'm going to give you the ladder of abstraction, one of the most important tools in relationship I think is out there and unknown. I'm going to tell you about my story so you get a flavor of where I've been and where I've gotten to and my viewpoints. I'm going to give you three concepts. The first is how to live unhidden. The second is how to take responsibility. That looked much better on my laptop. Responsibility. And the power of it, and then self-sabotage. Self-sabotage. We're going to talk about this concept, and I have a really great exercise I think you guys are going to dig. Okay? Then there's a new framework, the thesis of my book and my viewpoints. I'm going to explain that to you, fresh off the press. A process for you to take home, a pragmatic way to take these thoughts home, and then we'll do a final Q&A. Okay? Everyone ready to go? All right, awesome. Okay, here's my thesis. Society teaches us to live hidden, which is very detrimental to ourselves and our relationships. Now, here's the thing about thesis, for those who handled this in college or high school. This is my viewpoint. You don't have to take it on. And thesis, in terms of scientific study, is the first step of every great discovery and experiment. Because you start off with a thought. If I mix nitro and glycerin, that might be a good thing. When you actually mix nitro and glycerin in the laboratory, guess what happens? Your laboratory blows up. You no longer have a laboratory. So it's a successful experiment because you've learned mixing these two things is a bad thing. Some of our greatest scientific results have been mistakes. Penicillin, favorite example. They left a petri dish out by a window. They came back a few days later. There's little spores growing. Whole world, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of lives saved from this mistake. In the world of pragmatic living, we celebrate mistakes. In the world of self-sabotage, we berate and self-flagellate ourselves for mistakes. So, the thesis I'm presenting is the world we live in, the world we swim in, is teaching you and forcing you on some level to live hidden. And I'm going to go more in depth of what I mean by that. And this is limiting your relationship to yourself and also your relationship to others. You don't have to agree with me yet. I hope you agree with me at the end, and if not, we can have a good debate after the talk or maybe in Q&A. Okay. This is the Ladder of Abstraction, written in 1939 by S.I. Hayakawa, and this viewpoint has saved me from so many arguments I can't even tell you. So I'm going to give you an example so you have it in your body. Meet Bessie the cow. Bessie weighs 2,875 pounds. It has 47 spots. It produces about 13 gallons a day of milk. This is Bessie. Everyone say hello to Bessie? I made those numbers up, by the way. Okay. Bessie is the bottom level of abstraction. So when you go to a farm, you might be able to find Bessie, but more often than not, you're going to visit and meet cows. You're going up one level of abstraction. I have my giggling section over here. It's always good. So Bessie is one of cow. a kind of cow. Now, cows might range from 2,000 to 4,000 pounds as an adult. They might have as little as 17 spots. They might have as much as 50. I'm making these numbers up. Please don't take notes on them. They might produce 8 gallons of milk to 30. You know, you can get, there's a range. One level up from cows is farm asset. Bessie is a member of the farm that has value. It's a farm asset. One level up is asset. Farmer Joe could have some sports cars, could have some buildings, could have some farm, could have some water, could have some computers. One level up from asset is wealth. Wealth could be an abstract thing, his relationships, his money. In terms of how we relate to the world, we're often arguing at different levels of abstraction. I'm saying, this is Bessie. This is Bessie, 2,785 pounds, 13 gallons of milk a day. And then Morgan, my love, my muse, is like, that's just an asset. And I'm like, but don't you see? Don't you see, this is a cow, this is the specific things. And she's like, no, it is an asset. And all of a sudden, we're arguing because guess what? We are both right. We're just seeing things at different levels of abstraction. So where Andrew is a top layer of abstraction that I don't truly understand, to be completely in our honesty. Like, I don't want to expose myself too much, but I might as well, since this talk is about living authentically. I don't understand what the man's talking about. But I believe him. I believe in him. I believe in you. And I believe that you believe him to a degree, whatever it is, and you're getting value from him. Now, we might listen to the same lecture, and I might think like, wow, he really nailed it with that joke about the thing. And then you're talking about the revocation that changed your life, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. The point I'm trying to get is that we're both right. So Andrew, I'm his CFO for this company, and before it came, it was a mess. Just like and I went in with all the numbers, and I sent him a week report every Thursday. It has the P&L, it has the cash, it has the details, it has questions. I think he totally ignores it. I really don't think he reads it. I really don't. But I think he feels good knowing that I know. That he knows at any point I'm going to say, we have an issue. Or, my God, look at this. He's depending on me. When you're in an argument with someone, you can just say, perhaps I'm not at the right level of abstraction. And I can shift to find that concert. Okay. All arguments are different levels of abstraction. I'll give you my favorite. Classic example you might all figure. I was married before the lovely Morgan, back when I was a mere slip of a youth. I was married to a woman named Carol. We would go out, parties and plays and dinners, and I'd be like, what time do you want to leave today? She'd be like, 8 o'clock. I'm like, cool. Guess what? 7:58, I am dressed, I'm ready, I'm looking good, I'm ready to go out. I'm sitting downstairs, reading a book. This is before the internet, just like hanging out and like looking up, and then she comes down in her towel and a robe. 7:58. Now, men take about 3 minutes to get dressed. Women take about 6 hours, basically. Some less or more. So the point is that Carol had a different viewpoint and relationship to time. For her, leaving at 8 actually meant 9. Me leaving at 8 meant 8. On the nose. Now, the funny part was that when we left at 9, we got to the party at 9:30, it was the right time to be there. She was much more in tune with the higher levels, and so after 17 arguments, I finally learned my lesson, and I expanded my relationship with time. So what would happen was I would be 7:58, 8 o'clock, I would rise up to her level of abstraction, to what she's reading in the universe, to leave at the appropriate time. I learned the skill of not being so damn stubborn about my viewpoint and rose up to meet her. And then I was no longer mad going to a party about some weird loss of hour with a connotation of lack of respect, et cetera, et cetera. We could do the whole talk on this thing. The point is that we live at different levels of abstraction. And the master communicator is the one that can go up and down the ladder to fit the appropriate situation, conversation, relationship. If I'm sitting down there, listening to Andrew speak, and I'm pissed off at Andrew for pulling me up with his Jedi mind tricks to the higher levels, guess who's losing? I'm losing, Morgan's losing, my table's losing, the room's losing, Andrew's losing, because I'm stubbornly at the bottom level of abstraction. Now I'm just like, dude, take me on a ride. I'm buckled in, let's go. That took a long time to get to, okay? There's a bias in society that tells you you're supposed to come down. All you high-level thinkers are supposed to come down and coddle me. Just know that's part of society. You don't have to do it, but just know that's a magnetic pull in society. And in terms of high-level abstraction, low-level people look up often with anger at higher-level people. You might face that. You walk into a situation, you start talking about the great insights you learned here, and you actually see them get angry. That could just be you're speaking at a too high a level of abstraction. Martin Luther King, my viewpoint, is he spoke at a too high a level of abstraction for what society was ready for, and he got killed for it. Not saying that's going to happen, but just know that that is something that happens. People feel angry. And then high-level people look at people like me with my 7:58 and think I'm boring. What'd you do today? Well, I woke up at 8:05, and then I got a cup of coffee, and I left the house by 8:45, and then I went to my office, and then I had a call. I mean, she has to deal with this every day. 9:15, I make it a little more entertaining. The point is that high-level look at low-level and get a little bored. But you can change your state. You can go where you are to meet that person. And if you're a master communicator and not stubborn, that's where the deepest connections can arise. Okay? If there are questions, you can ask. I might say not at the moment, but if you have questions, please raise your hand. There will be Q&A in the future. Okay. All right, so I'm going to briefly talk about my story just to give you a viewpoint around this concept, how hidden affected me in my relationships. So I was born New York, 1970, firstborn New York Jew, male, which meant I had privilege. We thought we were the chosen people, cisgender, the whole thing. I had like the stereotypical privilege package, upper middle class, high school, college, graduate school, first corporate job, second corporate job, 28, started my own consulting business, making six figures, suit and tie, the whole thing. Like the package, the American dream. I was married. I had a house in San Francisco, which is no small feat, a 5-bedroom house in San Francisco. The whole future laid out for me. And I was miserable. Okay? Overweight, workaholic. My wife and I were passing each other in the night. Our sex life had gone, like a bad penny stock down to zero. It's like hot and heavy in the beginning. This graph, hot and heavy for the first 30 days, and then slowly degrades down to alcohol or arguments. Rich fantasy life, internet porn, which back then was news groups. There was no video. This really rich life. The truth between us got less and less the distance. And it was a blissful status quo of two people not knowing each other. She was going to massage school and learning all these high-level things that I had a lot of viewpoints around and distrust of. And I was sitting around as a computer programmer living in my little world. And we were the perfect American dream of status quo middle America. Then she said the magic words. honey, do you want to go to Burning Man? 1998 Burning Man is not what it is today. The only information I had about Burning Man, because there was not very few news groups, was a picture book. In the picture book, there were these 12 people walking around naked in the desert, mud encrusted. I looked at my little yuppie outfit and I was like, all right. Went to Burning Man, all my judgments, but well packed. Everything was very organized in the car. Got to Burning Man, get out of the car. Everyone know what Burning Man is? I'm sorry. It's a festival in the desert that happens once a year. It's art-based, and 75 to 80,000 people go, do drugs, put out art, free expression, walk around naked, jump in the mud every once in a while. Check it out. Okay, so I got out of the car. My car. I'm outside, it's like drumming, it's twilight, and this wind is coming, and the words came to me, "You're home." I was like, no. Yuppies do not belong in the deserts. You're home. Okay. You're home. Okay. A couple days in Burning Man, getting used to it. Heard about this place called Delilah's Den. Delilah's Den is a place where we heard there were orgies going on, people having group sex. I'm not here to get into your viewpoints around group sex, but for me, my little 28 porn-infested mind, I was very excited. Very, very, very excited. All day, Delilah's. 10:30 at night, 11 o'clock, ride our bikes, go to Delilah's, loud, thumping, lights. Delilah's, porn infested, orgy, opened the tent, walked in, thinking, there'd be orgies and people and naked and sounds, and there were 300 guys and 2 women. Me and Carol. Carol was suddenly very popular. So we left Delilah's. Walking around, oh God, Delilah's. And then the most interesting thing happened. We started to have a conversation about our sex life. 28 years old, I've known her for 4 years. We've been married for 2. First conversation about our sex life. First honest conversation in my entire life about my sex life. It was always in my mind. It was totally hidden. We just walked around that playa for 3 hours. One truth led to another truth, led to another truth. It was amazing. I had the first glimpse of what it meant not to hide, not to live in my shame, my self-created shame. She revealed parts of herself. I was like, oh my God, what? And I revealed stuff. She's like, I knew that. Anyway, you get the point. It was amazing. So then we got back to San Francisco in the late 90s. So many options. Anyway, so from there, we experimented, we took workshops. In 2004, I opened an organization called One Taste. One Taste is about the female orgasm. It's also about relationships, intimacy, communication, and sexuality. Did that for 10 years. There's a whole talk in there. But the point is that everything I thought was hidden in that 10 year of teaching and lecturing and writing and living in community, living in a sex commune, all these things, there was all these parts of me came out. And I pissed off a lot of people, mostly my parents. But this part of me came out from that experience. And I just saw this most amazing thing. The first is, I didn't need you to validate who I am. Andrew was talking to you about that, looking externally. That is the core viewpoint I got out. That I am a badass, powerful, empowered, beautiful man. And thank you. And even your clapping is the extra. If I depend on your clapping to know I'm doing a good talk, then I'm depending on you to do that. And what I learned was, no, I discovered the beauty inside of myself and then attracted beauty, attracted experience, attracted all this, came from this core self-belief. So since then I've been coaching and business consulting and writing and doing lectures, and I have a podcast. And then finally I was like, I discovered I need to come out of the shadows and write the book. That was Morgan's fault. She was like, you need to write the book. And I came down to this thought that the world is hiding. And so the rest of the lecture is just going to be your opportunity to open up one little door inside of you if you want. You have the right to say no. And what will happen if you open that door and reveal that part of yourself, and how much more life there is. The yuppie who walked into Burning Man to who I am now, like, I didn't think I even liked myself. I didn't like myself. Now I really dig myself. Now, I mess up all the time. I make little mistakes all the time and big mistakes every once in a while. But to me, like the lab not blowing up anymore, they're all catalysts for my growth. So, everyone ready to go next step? Okay. Oh, yes. Yes. Hallelujah. What does a hoe mean? Anyone know what a hoe means, really? I don't really know what a hoe means, but you can say a hoe. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so how we live hidden. Okay, so exercise number 1. Everybody ready? Okay, so stand up and pick someone who you don't know. All right. Okay. Anyone got a partner? Great. Okay. Taller person is going to speak first. Everyone point to the taller person in your group. Okay. All right. The taller person is going to speak for 45 to 60 seconds. Okay? And I'll announce the topic in a second. The shorter person's just going to listen. Now, I want you to practice a special kind of listening. I call it active listening. I want you to listen fully. I also want you to see if you can just neutralize your face. Just stand there kind of like a cold Buddha. You don't have to, just try to take the part out so he can reveal himself. And he's not looking, or she's not looking for the smiles. Just give that person the opportunity to speak without fear or the pulling of your reaction. Does that make sense? It's just a friendly thing to do. And for the person listening, you don't have to put on the show. Everyone know the show? We're putting on, is this the appropriate facial gesture for something he just said? Oh my God, he just told me about his mother and I just don't know what I better put this. This might work. Okay? Relieve the facial show and let the first person speak. Okay, the taller person is just going to speak. You have the choice of 0 vulnerability to 100 vulnerability. You get to pick all the grays in between. 0 meaning I'm not going to tell you anything because I don't know who you are. 100 is I'm swinging for the fences. Okay? So, with my story, I lived unhidden by not telling my wife the truth about anything. But, a lot about my sexuality. You can pick 1 or 2 topics and speak for 60 seconds on ways you're perceiving you are living hidden in your life. Okay? Simple, don't overcomplicate it. Ways you're hiding. Okay, no judgment, 60 seconds on the clock, and go. And stop. Please thank your partner whatever way feels appropriate. I'm looking for 2 shares. You can sit down, I apologize. You can sit down. 2 shares of something you noticed about that exercise. 2 people. Over here, I got 2 people. Do I have a mic runner or? All right. Over the. Thank you, I didn't warn my back-of-house crew. Over there, gentleman in the white. They got it. Oh, I'm just getting 2 shares right now. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, I noticed that I found myself holding back. Like there was more that I wanted to say, and I was just like, no.
Awesome. Awesome. We'll be talking about that next, but thank you for demonstrating that. Okay.
Welcome.
Was there one other quick share? Someone had an experience in that exercise? Please.
This was a powerful one for me. So I went for as vulnerable as I could go, found out some interesting news in my family the past few days. Have yet to have a chance to share it with anybody. Have yet to have a chance to process. And as I was sharing it with a new friend, I walked through the experience in my mind and realized something pretty significant that Hello, okay. I had a pretty significant realization.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Give me a hand. Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, so 2 very extreme and very important and realistic results. One is, I don't know this person, I don't feel safe, I'm not going to share. Second is, guy went for the fences, and 60 seconds had a realization. That's sometimes how quick it can go. You just reveal it. You live unhidden. So my viewpoint of why it's not safe to share is because we live in a society of disapproval. We live in a society where everything you're doing is wrong. You're too tall, you're too short, your hair's too long, your hair's too short, you work too much, you work too little, you're not eating right, you're not living up to your parents' expectations, or whatever it is. We live in a society of disapproval. And so for me to say, I'm a badass MFer, that is totally against society's rules. Isn't it a little uncomfortable for someone to say, I'm awesome? Well, not here, I mean. Exactly. Pretty much else, Like, think about this. You're on the bus, and people take buses, all right? You're in a bus, and you're sitting there, and there's a couple talking, and one couple is saying about all the pain in his life. Like his backache, his boss is awful, his mom's sick, his wife doesn't understand him. You're like, okay, that's part of the normal thing. That same guy talking about the great sex he had the previous night, you're standing up and walking to a different part of the bus. He must be perverted to be talking about something pleasurable. But that's a society, that's what we live in. We live in that. We swim in that. We swim in disapproval and discontent. That is our status quo. And whether, how much work we do and how much, the revocations and the powerful work Andrew's doing, we still have to swim in the society that you're doing it wrong. So from that, we don't feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, there's no option for intimacy. When I coach men, they're like, how do I get my woman to open up? Well, you make it safe. Huh? You make it safe. She walks through the world feeling scared. She's been shamed for her sexuality. She's been shamed for being a woman. Just do everything you can to make it safe. And if you don't know what it is to make it safe, then you ask her. I am 18 years under my belt of this self-work. I still make mistakes. And then I say, well, how can I do that better? And she's like, you could do this, this, and that. I'm like, all right, thank God. Thank God I have a partner to educate me on that. And women, if you want a man to make it safe, or a woman, or man, or whatever, there's so many genders nowadays, whatever combination. I say this with utmost respect because I think it's awesome that there's so many genders these days. Educate them, him. Be willing to educate a man because he doesn't know, because he tends to walk around the world feeling a lot more secure than you do. That is the nicest thing you can do, is to educate. So we live in this place where we're taught to be hidden. We're persecuted. We're burnt at the stake, the proverbial stake. Now, you talk the truth on Facebook, and it pisses someone off, you got haters. And those haters hurt. We think we know. I think I'm cool, calm, and collected. I've been doing this 18 years. I taught orgasm, blah, blah. Someone says, I didn't like the way you did that. I'm like, oh. But the difference, I go, oh, and I go, okay, how do I do it better? My point is that it's okay to feel unsafe. It's okay to be unhidden, but then do the work to empower yourself to feel safe to be revealed. That's where we live. Excuse me one sec. The second reason that we tend to live hidden is we're worried about hurting someone else. We're taught that white lies are acceptable forms of communication. In my world, withholding is lying. When you withhold, you make your partner dumb. When you withhold, you can't trust your partner. Okay, listen to this math. Okay, so not that I do ever, but I lie to Morgan. Morgan buys the lie. I then know she's responding to me based on the lie. I then can't trust her because I know she's responding to me via the lie. I lose faith and trust in the relationship because I created the situation where she doesn't know who I am. I hide. So we have a practice of speaking some pretty intense truths. We don't vomit our truths. We do it deliberate. But in that, I don't have to worry about her not knowing me. The greatest gift you can give someone is to educate them on who you are. Okay? I got really heavy in here for a second. I'm going to give you a little shake. Give me a little shake. Come on, just a little shake it off. I do this on my podcast to imaginary audiences. Shake it off. Okay. Second viewpoint. Responsibility. The greatest superpower you have is taking responsibility. So in the two ends, in my lineage, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's victim and villain. Victim is 0% responsibility. Villain is 100% responsibility. And all the grays in between. Now first I want to clear up why I use the term villain, because this always confuses people. Because the villain is the one to set the game into motion. You know, Batman's driving around Gotham City. Everyone know who Batman is? Yeah. He's driving around Gotham City. There's no villains. He's going In-N-Out Burger. He's getting his car filled up. He's got nothing to do. It's not a bad life, but there's no reason to be Batman. All of a sudden, the villain comes along and creates a game for him to play. The villain is the one to set the game into motion. I am a total villain in my life because I will do things to piss off as much as possible all the people in my life, Morgan the most, because I want to create motion. Now, I do it deliberately to the best of my ability. Sometimes I miscue. The point is I take 100% responsibility for our relationship. 100% responsibility does not relieve her of her responsibility. It's not like we have a jar and I get 73% and she gets 27%. I'm so glad I did that right. The number's right. I live in a jar where it's 100% and 100%. And when I do something that makes her mad or she does something that makes me mad, I'm like, okay, how did I co-create that situation? I am 100% responsibility. In my lineage, in my viewpoint, if one partner cheats, both partners are to blame to some degree. Because I didn't create a situation, this person didn't create a situation that this person could say, I'm thinking of cheating. Because we persecute them, because we live in a society of disapproval, because they hide, there's no pathway. Wow, I met this guy at the supermarket, and boy, did he turn me on. And I wanted to give him my number, so I did. You know? Can you imagine, receiving that? What does it mean about me in this relationship? In my world, if that's something she wants to do, then tell me about it. And it's not so much she has to act on it, but I want to know every aspect of her. I want to know everything because I want to be responsible to create a scenario where she can fully live unhidden and be who she is. And then you can decide, again, it's my thesis. You can decide how you want to go. But I can tell you, when you take responsibility and create a space to be all of you, then I'm not marrying a facade, a hologram of who she is. I'm actually marrying who she is and who I know. Okay. Third concept, then we'll do an exercise. Self-sabotage. I grew up in Long Island, New York, and I learned to drive when I was 16 years old. And I thought it was really cool. Cool with my little Honda Accord. Driving with my dad, who was a very bad teaching. Mom, much better. Dad, not so good. Anyway, so driving on the side streets, and I rocked it. I was just like, all the video games I had played, five on the floor and driving around and on the side streets. And then I get my learner's permit, and then I'm permitted to go on the freeways, or they were called highways back there, parkways. And then expressways, parkways and expressways. Anyway, so then they're like, okay, time to go on the freeway. And I'm like, I got this. And then I started to drive on the freeway, and that 30 miles an hour went to 50 to 60 to 65 miles an hour, and I was freaking out because it was really fast. And there were cars on all sides of me, and there was this little dashed line. They weren't even raised at that time. They were just little dashed lines, and I was freaking out because I was comfortable at the 30 miles an hour, but scared to death at the 60 miles an hour. This is an analogy, by the way. This is how we live life. We say we want to drive really fast, and we're really comfortable at one level, and then we get to the higher level, and then we freak out. And what most of us do? We put our foot on the brake, which is not smart to do on the Long Island Expressway. But that's what we do energetically. We get scared and we self-sabotage. And the main reason we self-sabotage, one is we're fearful. The second is we don't think we're worthy. Our reception, how much we can receive. It's like, I want a good relationship, I want a good relationship, I want a good relationship. A really amazing partner shows up, and all of a sudden you're fighting because he or she wants to give you the world, and you can't receive it. So we self-sabotage. We lock down. We make them the villain, the creator of the game for me to be happy, and all of a sudden we can't receive it. We self-sabotage as a way to keep ourselves safe. Now, the antidote to this is consciousness and communication and noticing. But this is a huge detriment in our society, is that we're stopping the flow of having everything we want. I stand up here and say to all of you, you guys deserve everything that you want, 100%. You want a great partner? Check. You want a great job? Check. You want one of these cool things up here? Check. You want to be up here speaking? Check. You want to write a book? Check. I stand up here and think, I want that for all of you, and I believe in you. You can have it. And then I have to do a lot of therapy and a lot of plant medicine for me to believe this about myself. That's the way we were taught, because we self-sabotage. And your ability to bring out your gifts and beauty to the world is really your purpose and what you were meant to do. Okay? So we're going to do an exercise on this. Everybody ready? Okay, find another partner or be with your partner if that's your desire. This could be a standing or this could be a sitting. I recommend the standing, but if your physicality enjoys sitting, grab 2 chairs and find some space in the room. Go. Okay, does everyone have a partner? It's fine, you can do it. It's up to you. Or break someone up, it's up to you. All right, everyone have a partner? Single lady, single lady, single lady. All right, join a threesome and, right there, yeah. All right, please come to silence. Wow, that was amazing. Okay, 7-step process we're going to be doing. 7-step process. So again, if you get tired standing, please sit, but I think it's better standing. Okay, the first is a kind of internal, silent conversation with yourself. I want you to come up with 1 to 5 places you are not taking 100% responsibility in your life. 1 to 5 places you're not taking 100% responsibility of your life. Okay, some that will pop in really quickly, most of us. Some might be a little harder. You have 30 seconds. Go. Just sit. Nothing to talk about, just think about it. Okay, finish up. All right. You can turn the music off, that'd be great. Thank you. All right. So, this is not a legally binding exercise. So in other words, you can just play in the context of this lecture, though I don't recommend it. You can take this next step into your life. Think of 1 of those 5 things or 2 of those 5 things if they're related, and think about 1 change you could make or 2 changes you could make to take more responsibility in that arena. Now those could be little tiny ones, little tiny steps, or those can be really big steps. It's up to you, player's choice, dealer's choice. But think in your mind again, 1 to 2 places and 1 to 2 pragmatic changes you can make to take more responsibility. You have 30 seconds. Go. Again, silent. Okay? All right, turn to your partner. Okay. Unlike the first exercise where you had active listening, stone Buddha, no facial expressions, you're free to have all your facial expressions and talk. Okay, here's how it's going to go. The shorter person is going to go first. They are the client. The taller person's the coach. Okay. So this is a coach-coachee relationship. The coachee, the shorter person, is going to say 1 or 2 of those changes. You're going to go into it a little bit. You're going to speak about the details of it. The coach is then going to offer viewpoints or reflection on ways to make it better. This is a yes and. In improvisation, yes and continues the scene, no stops all action. Yeah, that's a good idea. But what if you did this? And they'd be like, yeah, that's awesome. And what if I did that? It could be a conversation like that. It's a building of the 2. Short person is going to express the concept of the change you're going to make. The taller person is going to do their best to make it better. Okay? Again, not legally binding. Shorter person speaks, taller person makes it better. You have 1 minute. Go. And bring it to a close. And stop. Okay. Shorter person, you should have a little, okay. Flirt on your own time, that's fine. All right. Okay, so shorter person, you should have at least a thought, a kernel, something you want to change out in the world. Okay? All right. Reverse positions, taller person's the coachee, Shorter persons, the coach. Give a kernel, yes and go. 1 minute on the clock. And stop. And stop. Okay. Both people should have a kernel of a thought, should have a thought in their heads about something they want to change. Okay. Step 4. Step 4 is another internal one. Step 4 is I want you to come up with a mantra of how you're going to change that. Mantra could be like, I'm going to stop eating chocolate. No, scratch that, sorry. Okay. I'm going to stop eating Hershey's chocolate and go for the Lily's, the one without the sugar. Yes, I'm going to switch, whatever it is. Or I'm going to tell my mother the truth. I'm going to tell my mother the truth. Or I'm going to take some anger management classes to handle my kids better. Or some string. It could be two or three things. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get my college degree. I'm going to up-level my job. I'm going back to school. Figure out your mantra of what you're going to say inside to communicate to yourself first. This is how I'm going to make the changes. Again, it could be very low level, it could be very high level. I'm going to divorce him. I'm going to stop drinking. Or it could be like, I'm going to get up when the alarm clock goes. I'm not going to hit snooze 4 times. This is an issue. Pick your level of sensation, right? Okay, so you have about a minute, just internally, no talking. Just sit inside of yourself and come up with your mantra. Okay? Go. Okay, everybody got their mantra? Okay. So, for the people sitting, this will be a little difficult, but it's important. So, for the people standing, turn back to back. To the people sitting, move your chairs so you're sitting back to back. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to have you repeat this mantra for 90 seconds. You can say this mantra at any level of energy you want. Everyone okay with a little yelling if it comes out that way? Yeah? I want you to emote it. So for the first 30 seconds, you're going to talk back to back. The second 30 seconds, I'm going to have you shift, so you're shoulder to shoulder, standing in a line. The last 30 seconds, I want you face to face. And I want you to be there for your partner. I want you to be there for yourself, and I want you to have a second level of awareness and be there for your partner. I want it in your bodies, and I want you witnessed of your mantra for your commitment to your change. Make sense? All right, 90 seconds, go. Okay, shift shoulder to shoulder. Bring up the intensity if you feel it. Turn to face the person and continue to mantra for the last 30 seconds. Bring it. Be a witness. 5 seconds. And stop. Thank your partner, whatever way feels appropriate to you. You can grab a seat. Can I get the microphones for 2 shares? Is there 1 or 2 people who want to share about their experience? Grab a seat, please. One to 2 shares? Anyone? Bueller? 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 No shares? And back there. Thank you.
My pleasure. So it was
Speak,
awesome.
hold like a rapper, right to your mouth.
It was awesome because you made me face what I really, really didn't want to face. And I just made a commitment that it was serious commitment. And I have no choice but to follow through. So I just like, I made that big step onto the other side where I want to be. So that was great.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Give it a hand. Yeah, she just had a life-changing experience. Is there a second share? Second share? You want to share? You. You raised your hand. You caught it in school. Remember? I was just stretching. You don't have to share if you don't want to. Would you like to share about your experience? You don't have to. It's okay. It's fine. It's no. No, good. Right here in the front, second chair. It's, okay, we'll go there and then we'll go there. Thank you. Holly, right?
Hi. I found out that we actually had the same issues, which was funny and great at the same time because we resolved it, I believe, and we thanked each other and we feel the difference after we were chanting our mantra, and I can't thank you enough.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I call that terminal uniqueness. We think we're the only person with the problem, and we open our eyes and we're like, oh my God, so many people have the same problem. There's a second chair, last chair over there, Holly. Oh, with him? I'm sorry, go ahead. Like a rapper.
Yeah, what's up?
What's
Yeah,
up?
we actually had the same terminal uniqueness issue, and we came to a realization that we both have to. I'll just say my mantra: step into our power, have faith in our power, and take that leap of faith.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Give me a round of applause. All right. Whoa. Okay. This looked much better on my laptop. So, new framework for living unhidden. This is just one way you can think about it. Okay. Increase your authenticity. Move from hidden to unhidden. Increase your responsibility. Move from victim to villain. One way to look at this is if you're living in low authenticity and lack of responsibility, you're imprisoned. You're living inside the prison the society set up for you. If you're, if you're living out in the world, but you're not living at the level of hidden, you're a poser. Remember that term? Poser. It's like you're acting a role rather than living authentically. You're not taking responsibility, but you're living out there in the world, you're drama-filled. We know plenty of these people, right? And if you're living out in your truest sense of who you are, you're living unhidden with responsibility, you're emancipated. You're living free. And when you live free, the only person who can put foot on the brake is you. We all live with the tyranny of our childhood wounds. We all live in the tyranny of places that we surrender our power to. Take 100% responsibility, live out in the world, take the risk if you so desire, to alienate the people who are not serving you. But you will find, I suspect, other people out there that will meet you in your unhidden nature. I'll be completely honest. I did not think a woman could keep up with me. That was my arrogance, no doubt. But I had the viewpoint that when I showed her all of me, she would be out the door. But instead, she said, no, show me more. Show me more. Show me more. Really? Show me more. This? Show me more. The greatest gift I've ever gotten is someone saying, show me more. And that's the gift you can give. Now, you don't have to do it, you get to choose. I'm not saying you have to do this for everyone, it's not like your responsibility, but you can choose the people you want to reveal yourself to. And take the consciousness and the level and to see how you want to change and who you want to be. It works. It can be challenging, it will be challenging, and it works. Okay? So I want to give you a process that kind of demonstrates what we just did, actually. So here's the process for change. The first thing is, this looks much better on my website, on my laptop. The first is awareness. That was the first step you did. You looked at the 1 to 5 things that were going on for you. You picked up your awareness. You're aware. Okay? I have cards, by the way. If you want this slide, I'm glad to give you these slides that'll look better than this too. So I'll put these here. So just email me and I'll get you the slides. Okay, first is awareness. The second is commitment. We have a lot of awareness, but how often do we commit? We don't, very often. So have your awareness, make a commitment to change. Do inventory and milestones. Be willing to look at the specific details of that. That was when you looked at the specific steps. Do an internal inventory, and then set milestones that are possible. I want to make $1 billion. Okay, that's a great goal. What's the milestone? I want to make $1 billion. What do you do next? I have no idea. Okay, you want to make $1 billion? First make $1 million. Then invest it. Okay, we'll make $1 million. I don't want to make $1 million. Okay, make 100,000. Make 50,000. Make 1,000. Set a milestone that you can actually get to so you won't get lost in the process. Fourth step, practice. That was when we did the mantras. That was the practice. Okay? 5 is accountability. That was the person standing in front of you. Accountability can be a friend, coach, therapist, men's group, 12-step program. Get someone to witness you. I wanted to lose weight in January of 2013. So I put on my Facebook, I'm doing 30 days of yoga. Okay? Day 1, yeah, did day 1. Day 2, yeah. Day 3, yeah. Day 7, oh. Day 8, oh. Day 9, hey Rob, why have you done yoga yet? It's 5:30, when are you doing your yoga? My friend Beth Elder, when are you doing your yoga? I'm going tonight, there's a 7 o'clock class. Oh, you better, and you better post about it when you're done. She didn't really say that, that's how I heard it in my head. The point was, I set myself up with a cycle of accountability, and I honestly did 28 of the 30 days, but that's still pretty damn good for a guy that was totally out of shape. Okay, accountability. We didn't do this one, the exercise, due to time, but reassess and modulate. Second yoga story. I was doing a talk at Lightning in a Bottle. I said I was going to do 70 yoga classes in 80 days. I even made a Google spreadsheet to prove it. 70 yoga classes in 80 days. And then like day 30, I'm like, I'm dead, I am dying. So I modulated it. I changed it to 60 classes in 80 days, which is still pretty good, and that's what I did and felt good about. Don't make yourself a practice that kills you. Have the freedom to modulate it, okay? So an important step. And celebrate the milestone. Be willing to say, God damn, that was awesome. I made $1,000. I'm on my way to $1 billion. Woohoo! Be willing to celebrate Because if you don't celebrate your wins, it creates a gap inside of you. The human brain doesn't know the difference between balancing your checkbook and winning the Nobel Peace Prize. From a biological sense, it doesn't know. All it knows is success. Success breeds success. Success breeds success. So if your route to $1 billion is making $1,000, you have to celebrate, because that's when it gets you the second 1,000, 5,000, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Your practice. Your practice is really important. And so find out what you need to do to create your practice. You all made a commitment inside your mantras. Find a way to bring that into real life. I have time to help one person for a few minutes. Does anyone need help or want help developing their practice? Jake. He needs a microphone, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know where to begin because this is like my core wound and.
Okay, wait. Oh, do I have permission to practice my tough love with you?
Sure. Yeah.
Give me a yes instead of a sure.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to play you for a second. The world is so heavy. There's a lot of weight on my shoulders. The universe is watching. Who would you be with your chest out? Your proud, handsome manliness.
No, I can't be that.
I have no doubt. But you're not being it right now.
I'm not being right now because I'm in a lot of pain and yeah, I'm really struggling. So, no, I appreciate it. But it's yeah, I'm really struggling. You know.
Okay, then I'm sorry, I'm really using you as an example. This might be a little uncomfortable, but celebrate your struggling. What a first world problem that is to struggle. I mean, there's Puerto Rico. So think about it. It's like, I am struggling. You could do that.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen to your energy if you did that?
Yeah, I feel great.
Okay, good. Give it to me.
Yeah.
You're struggling, and give me a struggle.
I'm struggling to be open about my desire for love and I'm struggling to be honest about how I feel.
Okay, to who?
The women in my life.
Okay. So you have women in your life. Friends?
Well, that's the problem. I don't know.
You don't know if they're women, you don't know if they're in your life.
No. I know them in my life. Yeah, I know them in my life.
The women in your life, so they're in your life, you don't know.
I don't know where I stand.
Okay, great.
I have 2 single daughters.
Thanks.
Okay, so your opportunities are multiplying.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let me make sure I get this. So I know I'm annoying you, but we have stories. We have stories. We have stories on top of our stories. We have stories on top of our stories, and we get lost in the story. And I don't have enough time. I got time. And so I want to make this laser-like.
Yeah.
No. And so I'm going to give you a lot of energy in the pragmatic lower abstraction level, not the Andrew level. I'm going to fuck with your problems and say my God, you're a good-looking kid. This is ridiculous. You got 2 daughters. Wait, don't date both of them, whatever you do. Okay. So there's women in your life. You don't know where you stand with them.
Yeah.
Okay, is there one particular woman you dig?
No, that's the thing. Like, I feel so much guilt that I don't even try.
Okay, great. What do you feel guilty about?
Wanting to be with many.
Oh, you're
Women.
a slutty little hoe. I am a slutty little hoe too! Any other slutty little hoes out there? Woo! Okay. Now, if I was doing a full coaching session, we would go a lot of fun with this one. But I only have a few minutes. So I want to give you a practice. So there's lots of things you can do. The first thing is to look at whose voice, you might want to take this notes, whose voice is telling you that it's wrong to have desire for multiple women.
My mom.
Okay, great. Now, is your mom telling you this in real time, or this is the voice in your head?
It's the voice in my head.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Okay. We all have this thing I call the committee, the different voices in our head. There's the joker, there's the priest, there's the slutty little hoe, there's the bookworm, there's, the wallflower. So you have all these voices in your head. You need to build a practice to get all the people together, all the voices in your head, and have a conversation. You need to sit down with your committee to get all these voices in line. We actually did an exercise that's called the committee exercise, where we had people play out the different voices. Okay, you be the priest, you be the slutty hoe, you be the wallflower, and then you're you. And then you start to have a conversation with these 3 or 4 real-life people playing the roles in your head. And the goal at the end was to get them all in the car with the right person driving, the slutty little hoe at the door, at the window, the priest in the back, in the trunk, sailing forward. Get it? Boy, you look very different at the moment with the 2 daughters. Okay, give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. Now, I know that might be totally ineffective for you, and I appreciate that, but I just want to show you the process of how you build a practice for yourself. Think outside the box and ask for help.
I don't know who to ask though, because I feel just so ashamed. What usually happens is that I get into relationships very quickly and very intensely.
Okay.
And then what happens is I feel like this taking energy, and I maybe use, I don't know.
Well, you're just dishonest.
Yeah, I don't know
You're
how
sneaky.
I feel.
You're a sneaky little slutty little hoe.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I feel bad.
So I'll give you a real life example. So I consider myself a non-monogamous person. I met Morgan, it's a long story. But I just said, listen, I'm not a monogamous person. If you want that, look elsewhere. I said kind of haughty, kind of an asshole. It's like, look elsewhere. And she's like, That was the first week. And then about 4 months later, I was like, what do you want us to be monogamous? I'll do anything. But the point is you're setting yourself up in situations because you're hidden. That used to be, say, hidden up there. So we need to build a practice, one, for you to get right with your committee. The second is for you to start to live unhidden. There are so many non-monogamous slutty little hoes out there waiting to meet their Jake. And your shame, your self-flagellation, which is ridiculous over here, is the one where you have the foot on the brake, where the priest or the mom, where the mom is, put the foot on the brake in the car. Okay? Give him a round of applause. Everyone get a taste of how to build a practice? Taste. I know it's not easy, but you can make it much simpler than we just did. You can find a way to go from where you are to where you want to go to. Okay, questions. I have about 10 minutes for questions, so on any topic, please.
How do
How do you overcome procrastination is the question. The first for me is really to follow the process. One is awareness. What's your motivation? What's your motivation for procrastination? Is it a habit? Is it a fear? Are you not in the right place? Are you going against your own grain? Are you have this huge appetite and none of it's getting satiated? The first step for you is to do the research of why you have the awareness around it. The second is to make a commitment to change. And that commitment to change can be really small. I mean, minuscule. Instead of 7 times snooze bar, I'm going down to 4. I'm not kidding. Like, instead of watching 3 hours of Netflix a day, I'm going down to 2 or 1.5. Don't rip the parts of you out. Build a practice to eliminate that in a safe and deliberate fashion. Cool? Okay. Second question? Here in the front.
Like I strive to take responsibility in all my actions, and also I try to be authentic, and I've been told by my friends millions of times that I have no filter, a lot like you. And I just find that people get really angry with me, so I can't be authentic. And it creates drama in my life, right? And they want to come and attack you now because you're telling them truths that they don't want to hear. And so I find myself being reclusive. I don't go out. I just, I'm my own best company, right? So I'm just wondering how would one overcome and get past and not, I don't want to start applying filters because then I'm not authentic, right? And then,
Awesome question.
yeah, so I'd like to know how I can interact with people and go out more and enjoy myself without being on the defensive.
Okay. How's your relationship to patience? You're not patient. Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the first is you're going to have to learn patience.
Right.
The second is you're going to have to learn something called the communication bridge. The communication bridge is something like this. Mom, there's something I want to discuss with you. Is that all right with you? Yes. When you sent me that text, I felt like you weren't really understanding what I was talking about, and I felt hurt. It's a communication bridge. It's a connector. A lot of people who are unfiltered just walk around vomiting on people because they don't have the patience to build the rapport. Communication bridges can take weeks. It could be a little truth with someone you want to be close to, and then a second truth and a third truth.
Just don't dump it all on them.
No vomiting. Vomiting is not a good strategy. Okay? And sometimes when I coach couples, I'm just like, listen, you owe her an apology for you lying. You might want to start off with an apology. We've been in a relationship for 3 years, and this is part of me I've never told you. I apologize for not revealing this part of myself. I am sorry that I hid it from you. And my motivation from hiding it from you was I was scared. I was scared of you leaving. I was scared of you rejecting me. And I want to be more authentic, and I want to be more real. Can I start to tell you who I am? If she says yes, then you got a game. If she says no, that relationship's over. You got to go. But it's a process, and it does take patience.
Right. Great, thank you.
Pleasure. Another question? You can clap. Another question? Are we full? It's okay to be full.
This is just a bit of a cheeky question.
Oh, what kind of
Cheeky.
cheeky?
Yeah.
You're from Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you use too much information as a villain to, like, he was just talking about vomiting on people. So can you consciously vomit on people?
Of course.
Yeah, to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great technique.
Cool, thanks.
Reveal too much and watch, I'm really looking to have 7 kids. They're out the door. Oh, yeah, for sure. I lie all the time. I withhold all the time. I do it, and I'm very deliberate about who I do it with. I lie to people I don't want to be close to. And there are a lot of people, I know a lot of people, and some people I don't want to be close to. They don't get the truth. But I don't do that with Morgan. I don't do it with my close friends. Something bugs me, I tell them. But if you can definitely push people away with the truth. Quicker than passive-aggressive lies, because they get confused by those. Okay, one more question. All right, you guys are cooked. Put a fork in there. All right, well, I'll tell you one last thing about myself. I have a podcast. It's called Tough Love. Every week, you can find it on your podcast favorite devices. You can also go to toughlove.live. I have consulting business, kandellconsulting.com. There's cards up front. You don't have to worry about writing it down. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful.